What's up, you guys?
What's up, you guys? Welcome back.
Get out. So look who's here.
Oh.
Reese is here.
Oh, I know it's been so long and everybody's missed me.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stay away from the screen for much longer. What are we talking about today?
I don't know.
You got me in here.
So in today's video, we're going to be talking about why it is that Reese left his 6-figure paying job. So most of this video, Reese is going to be doing the talking, but if you're new here, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a person in long-term recovery. This is my fiance, Reese, who is also in long-term recovery, and we have tons of stories on this channel. He has crazy stories, and I will leave a playlist in the description box. This man has been curb stomped, almost lost his arm. Did we tell that story?
I don't know.
Shit.
Maybe we didn't.
Uh-oh. Future story.
Future story.
He's burnt his face off.
Face right off.
It's not funny. You have to laugh or you'll cry. But I will leave a crazy playlist of Reese's story. But without further ado, let's kick this thing off. So let's tell everyone what you did without saying the company name.
Yeah. We're gonna be discreet here.
No one needs a lawsuit.
No, we don't. We absolutely do not. Well, I mean, some people that have watched this channel may have an idea of what I do, but if you're new, you know, I work in the supply chain industry, transportation, logistics. It's obviously national news at this point. Everybody understands the crunch that we're in, and you know, it's a very big industry, and I think for the long time it always kind of sat behind the curtain, so to speak, and people didn't really know how important and critical it was to maintain a strong supply chain, and that's international, domestically, everything, and now people really understand. I mean, that's what's driving inflation. I mean, the cost of wood didn't go up. We didn't run out of trees, but the cost to get that lumber from where it's made to your Home Depot went up exponentially. So that is what I do by trade, and that's what I've always done. So
Reese and I actually met at a transportation company, and off the bat, I could tell how much Reese loved it. Not only does he love being in transportation, but he's so fucking good at it. He's so good at it.
I think I just got a lot of experience.
Yeah.
I have a really good relationship with time. I'm become a patient person. You know, I think the way it's been described, you know, you gain the ability after a while to convince everybody that even if you're sitting in a burning room and the walls are lit up, we're all going to be okay. And that's what it's about. That's what I like to do. You know, with work, it keeps you busy. There's always a lot of moving parts. It's very much, there's a human element to what we do. A lot of people, personalities are involved. So that's it.
So tell everyone what your job title was and like what you did.
What I did. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously, you know, being in this industry, there's a lot of components, like I said, a lot of moving parts. And over the years, I've acquired, you know, the skill set that I have by working in different modes, different roles, and eventually moving into a leadership or management role per se. I really hate the word manager. I really love the word leader. You know, coming from the military days, you can't manage people into a firefight. You must lead them. So I think that as a leader, I've been able to grow, but my title eventually became general manager. And general manager can have a lot of mixed terms, but view it as like a general manager of a Major League Baseball team or a major sports team. You're kind of like a little mini CEO, and you run all the components of your office, you know, revenue generating, marketing, hiring, personnel, you know, P&L responsibilities. And so there's a lot of things that kind of fall up under your purview and your responsibility. And that's what we relocated up here back in 2018, because I was given an opportunity to have an office up here with that job. I think we need to address, because it's going to resonate with some of the things that are also making headlines, you know, the great resignation that people are all talking about.
Yes.
And it's a very real thing. I think they had to put a coined phrase to it, but I think that, you know, it's definitely a thing. And obviously I didn't read into it as much, but now I'm part of it. But I think the job market being what it is, I think the things that have happened over the last couple of years with COVID restrictions, shutdowns, have, you know, the opportunities for people to work remotely at home. I mean, I think things have really come upended, and it's really unprecedented. So I think that's really what, you know, drove me to my decision, and how we got there. We can obviously talk about that, but you know, it's a very real thing, you know, and I think that people start to reassess what they do. And, you know, traditionally, I think beforehand, people would have been more afraid of the unknown, or to make a leap or make a change. And I think that that's changing a little bit. I think that's changing a little bit for sure. And, and ultimately me and Jessica have been together now 8 years, and she knows me very well. And I'm a very methodical, consistent, there's purpose in everything that I do. So change can be tough for me even if it's cataclysmic change, like it's a big seismic change, like moving up here was a big thing for us, but the opportunity was there. So we were excited about it. But, after working at my last company for almost 7 years, the last couple became, intolerable, I think, for me to a degree. It was a big thing, right? Because we're in a different market up here. We're in Chicagoland. Back in Arkansas, I'm very familiar, have a lot of personal contacts. I understand the job market there. Changing jobs up here versus changing jobs down there, I think was also a component to that a little bit as well. So
I think companies are starting to realize, and if they haven't, they need to, that after 2020 and everything that we've gone through over the past 2 years with this panorama, I don't know what I can call it on the internet anymore. Yeah. People are starting to realize, like, hold on, I'm not going to be treated like shit at a company. I'm not going to be miserable. I want to spend more time with my family, and I'm not going to spend any more of my time unhappy and miserable in a toxic work environment. And that's why the Great Resignation is happening. If companies and leaders and owners don't understand that they need to treat their people better, they're going to lose good people. And that is what is happening here. Yeah. Reese was such a valuable asset to that company. He brought a lot to the table, and he really is the best at what he does. So for me, I'm so proud that he made the decision to leave. And this is something that I didn't think that he would do, and it's something that we celebrated. Yeah. So not to be dramatic, but we had a party for him quitting his job. Yeah. And this was a good job. And I remember the conversations that we had about it leading up to this decision. And I'm like, tell me a couple of things that are good about the job. The 2 things that he said was, I love my people. And I'm like, yep, that's great. That's important. Steady paycheck. I was like, whoa, if steady paycheck is in the top 5 of the list and you can't think of anything outside of that, we need to start talking about different things, I saw
a Simon Sinek, if anybody follows him, he's great, love his stuff, on LinkedIn, and it was a little thing that said, if you have to constantly be reminding yourself that you're well paid, maybe you're in the wrong place. And I understand that that means a lot to some people. And to some people, I know I looked at the comment section, they're like, well, not everybody has that, that opportunity. Somebody's got to be the janitor, whatever. But and I get it, not everything applies to everybody. There's no general consensus. But to some people, that really resonates. And it resonated with me. And, I think that, some of the things that we've kind of skipping around a little bit. So we jumped into this really informally. But, being unhappy at my job because the person that I am, the kind of person that I'm, and Jessica knows this, is I very much identify, and part of my identity is my job. I just know that's how I'm wired. I'm geared that way. A large part of who I am at my core is tethered to my professional success and my happiness at work. And for a while, for a good amount of time, that was being met at my current employer. And for the last 2 years, it was slowly not adding up. And, approaching, I'm getting into my late 30s. I don't think we've ever talked about how old I am, have we?
We're both in our 30s, which people think that he is really old. Yeah. We're like 6 or 7 years apart. Yeah. But he's getting a little gray. Yeah. I like it. Also, guys out there, keep the salt and pepper. Sincerely, grown-ass women. We like it.
Okay. But anyway, so obviously I'm maybe, late 30s and reaching that, being unhappy at work and that being such a large part of, my identity was causing a lot of issues at home. Obviously COVID hit and stuff, but, it got, and I don't think I realized that up until the end, but looking back on it now, a very large part of some of the really bad habits that we got into, I'm sure Jessica can attest, she can speak here in a minute about, when I finally made the decision to leave, knew what I was doing. I think she could say, I won't speak for her, but I'm sure she will say that she's seen a drastic shift in my mood and everything else. And I think that, it just got to the point, it bubbled up to where I just did not want to go into work anymore. And what was really difficult is because we moved up here and I took a struggling office for this company and built it into something that was great. I hired all the people People buy in, they look to you as a leader. So, the decision to step away from that, I told her, was the most tough part was the people, because they really look to you. And, I think we were the top sales office in the country for that company I left. And should we talk about the exit?
Yeah.
The mic drop? I didn't mean to do this. It just so happened to line up this way. They were giving out annual awards at the end of the year. And, I'd already made my decision up. I knew that I was stepping away. And they were having a company town hall via Zoom where, everybody's on and things like that. And they handed out awards for, top sales and this and that. And they just so happened to pick the day to do this was the day I was going to hand in my resignation.
But wait, it wasn't supposed to be that day.
It wasn't supposed to be that day. They moved it. This meeting was supposed to happen the week before. Well, they pushed it out a week, so it lined.
Not his fault.
I didn't do this on purpose, but they, on this town hall, named me General Manager of the Year. And then as soon as we got off that, I handed in my resignation. So there was a little bit of a shock, I think. And, of course, there's always the questions is like, well, what's going on? And, I was transparent and honest. I was unhappy. I felt like my value and my impact, in my mind didn't line up with what they thought. And that's okay. It's okay to disagree. For people that out there that, don't let somebody else dictate your value. I think that's super important, and really, you have to go to a place where you think that you bring value and impact, and the people that are paying you and working for you understand that, and they believe the same thing you do. But so there was a little bit of sticker shock, and obviously when you express that you're unhappy and those things like that, they're like, well, we didn't notice anything, or you didn't bring anything up. It's like, I think I kind of did. I think you know what's been going on, and there are other people also exiting this company. People that are in roles that have either been recently promoted or so it's an issue. I think that they're really struggling from a leadership standpoint, network wide, senior level up. They got some problems. They're really in a lot of trouble, that company I came from. And I think it's going to be noticed, obviously. Having people in key roles, key positions, leave, having top performers leave. And obviously there's some things that, you have to worry about in my industry where you have non-solicits, non-competes that make it even more challenging or discouraging for people to leave places. And not to say that the company I worked for was a bad company. I just think that they've made some missteps along the way, some turnover and some really key senior level leadership. And it breeds a lot of dysfunction, discord, mixed messaging. I think, people like to feel very, safe, and they like to have some sort of predictability. And when there's too much change, or there's things that, don't line up with the core values or the vision, or some of the things that you're saying when you talk out both sides of your mouth, when you say, we want to do this, this, and this, but the things to support that, to accomplish those mission-oriented objectives don't support your ability as the people on the floor to give them that, right? It's one of those deals. It's like if somebody came to you and gave you 3 pieces of 2x4, a couple nails and a hammer, and said, build me a house. And you're like, well, I don't have enough material. And they're like, build it. That's what I pay you for. And they come back a week later and you've done the best you can. And they're like, where's my house? And you're like, I'm going to need a little bit more to work with. And they're like, get me my house. It's like, you can keep coming back here and saying that. The house isn't going to appear. I can keep moving these pieces around to make different product for you, but something similar to that. That's my analogy for that. But that's kind of the situation that they're in. And, and ultimately that discourages people, right? You can't demand results from people and not give them all the tools in the toolbox. And I think that, there's a lot of competition out there right now in the marketplace, especially for what I do, and people will find it elsewhere.
What you said about impact, I kind of want to just back up here.
Okay.
I think it's important for young people specifically, when we're talking about making an impact and being appreciated and valued at your company, you can't make an impact in 5 seconds. Like, you have to build rapport, and it takes time. Yeah. Reese was at that company for 7 years, and he worked really hard, was promoted many times in 7 years. Mm-hmm. So I think people get discouraged after a year or two working somewhere, and they're like, well, I'm not making an impact. I don't feel like I'm making a difference. I don't feel like I'm adding value to a company, or I don't feel appreciated. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it's toxic. So it's a fine line between recognizing, like, should I just keep digging, or should I put the shovel down and walk away? You know, so it's tough.
And you have to be really, I think, aware of that too. And you have to do some reflection for people that are watching this video, because you know, when you're younger, you know, like Jessica's talking about, in your early 20s, you know, unless you have anyway, most people don't fit into that category where they're making a quick impact, or have a high level job, or have a degree that puts them into a specialized area. Most of us have to navigate the workspace, right? And, you know, you have to put time in to move up, to grow your skill set, to grow your influence, to be an expert in your field. And then obviously when you move up to another level, you know, as a leader, or maybe a different single, you know, individual contributor role with more responsibility, you have to learn all over again and start growing those skill sets and build up muscle mass behind that. And that takes time. But what Jessica's talking about, once you get into your 30s and you feel like you've done all that, it can be super critical as you're moving into, you know, a new role or at a different company, that if you don't pack up and leave and take your truck and go home when it's time, you could easily waste years of your career at a place that is not going to reward you for that time. Because I don't care what anybody says, and I've said this, I think, in a video before, you know, as much as, you know, people may feel valued, or, you know, like at my previous role, they treated me okay. They did right by me, and I had a lot of opportunity there. But I kid you not, I know, I'm very aware that if I would have died on the way to work, they would have had my job posted in a month, you know. And that's just something that's the reality of it, right? So you can't waste your time at a company thinking, if I'm just going to keep digging and working and they'll see me eventually. Well, that turns into a year to 2 years to 5 years. And then when the bell goes off, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get those 5 years back.
Just from the outside looking in, the company that he worked for wasn't a bad company, and they did provide a lot of opportunity. But when you're really aggressive and you're really passionate and motivated and you are a hustler, certain companies just want you to stay where you're at if you're doing a really good job, you know? And I just think you kind of outgrew that company.
Yeah. You know, if you're a really big risk taker, you know, there's some things you're like, hey, I want to move fast. I want to go quick, you know, and if you're working in a company that's very risk adverse and conservative, you're going to be frustrated there. But if you're a steady Eddie and you're okay with that, then you're going to be fine. But you have to understand that, right? I mean, it's one of those deals. Don't give me a Corvette and then put a 15-mile-an-hour governor on it. I am going to go crazy. Just give me a clunker, right? You know what I mean? So you just have to understand, like I said, again, being really self-aware of who you are and what you want to accomplish and what your goals are. And if they don't line up with where you're at, and, you know, they don't understand the value that you bring, that, hey, I can do a lot more here if you would kind of change a few things. And they're like, we're comfortable where we're at. We're not going to change much. We just need you to dig a little harder and a little faster. And you're like, if you get me a sharper shovel, I could dig harder and faster and get farther.
Here's a spoon.
Yeah, you know, so but you have to be aware. Like I said, and I didn't work for a small company at all. It was a large company. It was a national branded company. So
I think we need to normalize leaving toxic environments that you're unhappy in. So we had a party for Reese when he quit his job, which sounds absolutely crazy that you'd have a party to celebrate leaving a job that was paying 6 figures. Yeah. No one on their deathbed is going to be like, man, I just wish I worked more hours. I just really wish I worked longer hours, and I wish I worked harder for someone else. No, like, we understood, especially from things that we went through last year and the year before, that this is what matters. Our family matters. Our happiness matters. And Reese, when he's ready, you know, can find a different job.
We're in a very unique position. We've done well, and Jessica and I have been very fiscally responsible too. So before anybody gets into the comments section, like, it must be nice. When we met, I wasn't making 6 figures. I was sleeping on my grandma's couch. Yeah. I worked my way to that number. Mm-hmm. And we did, like I said, we made smart choices, saved money, and we were in a position where I can make this decision. So
we are in a position now, after working like crazy for, 8 years, where he can take some time. And we're going to talk about like plans for the future in a second. But yes, we worked from absolutely nothing. I had a mattress on the floor that someone gave me in a duplex that no one wanted to rent to me. And I had to sales talk to even get into this crappy little apartment. We didn't have dishes. We had nothing. We had no savings. And slowly but surely, we worked harder and harder. And Reese got promoted again and again because he worked like a dog. I mean, he worked so fucking hard. You guys have watched my journey as well, and you know, we're very grateful. My career is so different from Reese's, right? And I am, you know, so blessed and so grateful for the Ride or Die crew. It's because of you guys that, you know, I get to do what I do.
It's also because of, you know, Jessica's ability to have the success she has, doing what she's doing and something she loves, that makes this a little easier for me too.
Yes.
So, you know, for the longest time, Jessica was going back to school, taking care of, you know, our children. They're, you know, have gotten older, and Jessica has found success in her own pathway, right? And that's something that we're going to, you know, like I said, because our careers and what we do are so couldn't be farther apart.
So different.
You know, our children get to see that as well. There's multiple avenues for them to find success. And success can be money. It can be working at something that you have a passion doing, working for a place that you love, or having your own place. You know, it could be a combination of all those things, right?
So what are your plans for the future?
Oh, gosh. Well, you know, Jessica knows me well enough to know, and anybody else that does. I can't sit around forever. I'm a perpetual, you know, motor, you know, especially up in my head. You know, so I definitely will get back in the saddle. There's a lot of opportunity, like I said, for what I do in the Chicagoland area. It is a big transportation and logistics hub, you know, import, export. So you know, and again, you know, the market is hot. You know, even when I was working for my last employer, I would get lots of headhunters, you know, contacting me, and I'd be like, all right, you know, I used to call it professional flirting. That's what it was, you know. So if I was a little unhappy at work, I'd have a conversation and be like, "Oh, this is, you know, Jessica would be like, oh,
a whole interview."
I think I had a couple, and you had a fake. You said my pretend boss for a while.
Oh yeah, how's your fake boss?
My fake boss, yeah.
Like I was a huge advocate for you staying in your role because I really believed in the company, and I believed that he would get to where he wanted to go. But then after a while, I really started to pay attention to how unhappy he was, and I'm like, we'll find a fucking way, dude. Your happiness matters. Our happiness matters. Yeah. And I'd like to say for most of our relationship, we didn't get to wake up next to each other in the morning. You know, Reese couldn't take the kids to school or pick them up from school or have these little moments with them. You know, he would wake up at 4 a.m. and go to the gym, and he'd be in his office by 6:45, 6:30. Yeah. So I would
be in my office
before the kids woke up.
Before the kids woke up and everything else, and then obviously coming home later in the evening, especially, you know, starting up here in a new job, I would stay late, you know, so, and then, you know, you're burnt out, you're exhausted, you know, you're mentally tired. So yeah, I mean, I think that all those things played a factor. And I said, Jessica was a huge advocate, but you know, it ran its course. You know, I hit a ceiling, you know, some things were changing there, and, you know, obviously I became increasingly unhappy, and, you know, I knew there was opportunity out there for what I did. Like I said, I was getting pelted with it, and, you know, I finally got serious about it, and, you know, I thought, you know I can get another job. I really know that I can, you know, but, you know, that little gnawing thing, you know, it says like, you know, it gets tough because you've put a lot of work in the company that you have, or for me, the office that I had and the people that I had. I really liked the people. I liked what I'd created in my own little four walls, right? But I didn't really like what it belonged to, you know, top heavy side, you know. So that was tough too, because you're thinking like, I've put so much work into this, you know, and I'm going to have to start all over somewhere new. You know, you're going to be the new kid in class again. You're going to have a new boss, you know, you're going to have, you know, maybe if you inherit another team, you're going to have to build trust and respect and, you know, kind of a collaborative environment with them. And that takes time, you know, so there's all those things that go, you know, that come across your head. And sometimes it's easy to take the path of least resistance. Oh, I get paid good, you know, because I would have to I'll be reminding myself when I was just so miserable at work, you know, like, dude, tons of people would kill to have your job, yeah, or to kill, you know, would love to be in the spot that you're at. And I let that, I think, push me on a little longer too. So eventually it got to the point that I was like, we'll be fine. I know I can get another job. I feel very confident in that. And I just need to step away. So
I don't care if you work at the gym. I don't care. As long as you are happy, I don't give a single fuck.
Get me a medium shirt.
Yeah, medium.
Sound condescending.
Don't sound condescending.
Get out there and knock out them reps.
You should go do that. I wonder if, Planet Fitness is hiring.
Okay, you know.
Wouldn't he be so cute in a medium Planet Fitness shirt?
Walking around.
I just want him to be happy.
Yeah.
Maybe a Reese YouTube channel coming soon.
Yeah. But when I did leave, it took a couple days for it to even set in. And, that first week out, because this obviously is a video that we made later, it's been a little bit. So, after that first week, started to creep along, it really set in. I was like, oh, I just was really happy, You get past that, like, you're always a little nervous. You're like, oh, did I make the right choice? But that, every day that got a little less, and I got more and more excited about what, the future held, or had in store. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride, but I just, we got to make this video because absolutely, I was just not happy at all. And I think it wore me down. And if I would have stayed there, I probably would have kept making good money. I wasn't in a bad stop. My career probably would not have advanced. And I think that I would have been a horrible boyfriend, husband, dad. I think it would have possibly maybe torn a wedge in between me and the family. We wouldn't have made it.
I do want to say that it was for a long time.
It was.
And I feel like I'm a pretty good cheerleader, but I can only cheer for so long, bro. Fuck those pom-poms. Like, we knew that it had to change.
Yeah.
And I love waking up next to him in the morning, and we get to go to lunch together, and he gets to take the kids to school. And right now the plan is to just enjoy some time. Just enjoy some time and take a deep breath and maybe work at Planet Fitness. I don't know.
It'll work out. So.
Yeah.
To be continued. To
be continued, but I wanted him to sit down with you guys and make this video. For anyone out there watching, life is way too short to spend your life in a role that is miserable. If the best thing about your job in your mind is like, oh, the check's clear on Friday, look for a new job. You should not be miserable every single day and wasting your time in a company that doesn't appreciate you.
Amen to that.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Put it on a t-shirt. No.
Put it on a cracker, dude.
Put it on a cracker.
Do you guys watch that guy on TikTok?
Stale Cracker? He's awesome.
Him.
He's so good.
So maybe Reese YouTube.
Yeah.
We should stop teasing that. You're never going to do it.
It'll never happen.
Come on.
But yeah, so exciting times in the household for sure. Like I said, it's a good video, and I want to just make sure we say to everybody, that the point is being driven home. Jessica did a great job of that. But again, I didn't decide I was unhappy and then the next day quit. We had some conversations about it. It was a process, and we decided what we were going to do. I evaluated the market, and I thought, all right, I am confident I can get another job, whatever I can do. I'm in a place where, we were strategic about it.
Yeah.
So don't watch this video and quit.
Yeah, you weren't happy for like 2 years or something, but you decided to leave like months before you did.
Yeah, I think somewhere around, my birthday, September.
Yeah.
And I just recently left. So it was, it got to the point where I was like, this is it. This is it. Like I said, I always kind of professionally flirted with some other opportunities, but it got to the point where it's like, I don't need to have another job in my pocket. I'll be okay. This is, like I said, I'm going to take my truck and go home. So.
This is what we're doing these days. We're hanging out with these kids.
Family project.
Ah.
Show them what this is. This is our other child.
Why?
Well, they need to see.
This is Cupcake, and she is 3.
She's 3 years old,
3.
and she's a very real member of this family, isn't she?
She is.
Yes.
She gets lots of babysitting when Riley's busy. Now that I'm home.
Yep, that's her child. Oh my god. And you guys know this one.
I have to whisper something to them.
Yeah.
Okay, you whisper something to them.
Whisper something to him.
All ears plugged.
Okay, we're plugged.
Okay.
I don't know what you said. But so Daddy is pretty busy these days. Got his hands full. You guys want to say bye?
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye, you guys. See you later.
I love my mommy.
Oh,
I love my daddy. I love my sister.
Oh, wow, we're so nice. She's a little Sour Patch Kid, so that's a big moment.
Good day.
Oh, tell them why you're a Sour Patch Kid.
Do a little.
Tell them why you're a Sour Patch Kid, Riley.
I'm sweet. I'm sour. I'm spicy. I'm gone.
Awesome.
Bye, guys. Yelling, Cupcake needs a bath.
Riley goes up under the bed.
Why are we under then?
You can't smell.
Kiki needs a bath.
You can't smell.
She smells like a locker room,
You
Riley.
can't smell. You can't smell.
She smells like a locker room.
Smells like a sack of wet socks.
Ew. Don't put it in your mouth. That was a lot of work. You know? I worked today. It's a big word for Elmo.
Well, had
So-
to get back in here on the casting couch, your filming room.
Is that a porn joke?
No, it's
The
not.
casting couch?
Not really.
Reese.